I want to preface this video by saying I do think Kocmoc Unleashed looks really good. Kocmoc Unleashed has very good quality decoration, it has interesting theming, and is visually appealing to most people in the Geometry Dash community, but people still have a large problem with it, not because of the level itself, but more so how the level is being made. I'm not trying to pointlessly criticize Cherry Team or the level itself. This is more so pointing out an issue that a lot of people seem to have with the level, the reasons behind that, and ways to fix it. So if you could do your best to be kind to me and everyone else in the comments, that would be much appreciated. If you want to see more content like this, please remember to like and subscribe. It's the best way to see more content like this, and you can always undo it later. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So what exactly is the issue with Kocmoc Unleashed? Essentially, it just seems to come off as something that was purely made for views, which I partially disagree with because the creators who are actually decorating the level are clearly putting in a lot of effort. And there's a lot of valid reasons why people think this is kind of just done for views, even if that's not 100% the case. I mean, it hasn't even been a year since Kocmoc was verified, the second time I mean. And Cherry Team already has a remake of what was originally a remake that admittedly looks amazing, already, I'd estimate, at least like halfway done. But Kocmoc Unleashed is a remake of Kocmoc, which is a remake of the layout Kocmoc, which is a remake of Slaughterhouse, which is a remake of the old Slaughterhouse. So it's a remake of a remake of a remake of a remake, which sounds really bad, and the decoration is also like GD award winning. I want you to think back to your favorite remake in Geometry Dash. I'd say some pretty recently popular ones would be Bloodlust, Kino, Sonic Wave Infinity, Edge of Destiny. Whether it's one of those or a different one, think of your favorite remake in Geometry Dash. I'm gonna take a wild guess here and assume that the remake was made a pretty long time after the original level was released. That's because I think most of the reason why people make remakes is to take a level that was really cool and is now kind of out of date and give it a new face with modern designs. Let's take Bloodlust and the Apocalyptic Trilogy as examples. Bloodbath is the most downloaded extreme demon, extremely influential on the game, and then years later, Bloodlust comes along, redecorates the entire thing, buffs it, redecorates it, and extends it, elevating it to lead the community in difficulty again 3 years after it was released. This could also partially be said for Apocalyptic Trilogy, which isn't even out yet, Trick is currently verifying it, which takes these old iconic 1.9 levels like Aftermath, Cataclysm, and Bloodbath, and does a similar thing that Bloodlust did, but just with the standards of 2024, 9 years after the levels came out, and 6 years after we saw the release of Bloodlust. Also, yes, the verification of Bloodlust is the same distance and time away from us as 2030. You're welcome. The other reason a remake is usually made is to make the original level presentable. This happens a lot, especially with top demons that are super difficult, but look really bad and probably wouldn't get rated, so usually a team will come in and remake the level, which is what happened with Succubant Circles and Abyss of Darkness. Whether they succeeded or not is up to you, but neither of these reasons applies to Kocmoc Unleashed. Kocmoc is very much not past its prime. It still looks very good for today's standards and will probably be the case for years to come. It's a beloved level in most of the community, and I don't think there's really any problems that people have with the original decoration outside of your average Twitter contrarian. Generally speaking, it's very visually appealing to most of the community, which is I think why people feel like it doesn't need a remake, and that Kocmoc Unleashed doesn't really have a reason to be around. That doesn't mean that Kocmoc Unleashed shouldn't be a thing. By all means, it looks amazing, and it doesn't have to hold up to the idea of it being a desperately needed thing by the community. Hell, I think I, along with most people, if it was released in its current state tomorrow except finished, would be pretty excited about the level, but it's still holding itself back to a layout that has already been perfected by another level. I reached out to you guys through a community post asking your thoughts on the level and just give it a general rating, and the vast majority of you guys think that the level looks very good, but its primary purpose is probably for views. There should be an option for I love it, but it's not better than the Kocmoc original. I couldn't care less about the level, but I still think the name Kocmoc Unleashed is hilarious, like the level's apparently a dog or something. Kocmoc, but in black and white. Koc Unleashed. Can't wait for Kocmoc Leashed, Kocmoc Off the Leash, Kocmoc Evolved, Kocmoc Super, etc. Which, by the way, if you guys would be interested, I would love making a satirical version of Kocmoc. Longtime fans of the channel, you guys would know I love making joke levels. Overall, I think the main issue with the level is that it holds itself back by staying with the Kocmoc format. This amazing decoration would have been received a fair bit better, I think, if it was attached to a layout that we hadn't seen before. Or hell, you could even do what Bloodlust did and give it an extension. Sure, it would take a bit of work and you'd probably have to do some work with the song, but hey, that's much more possible now, even in-game with the new song trigger, so adding a couple extra parts as a bare minimum for added originality to the gameplay is very much an option since it's kind of too late to change most of the layout. It's also staking a foundation on very, very shaky ground. The second that there is a single criticism that goes around the community about the decoration, it's over. The main thing going for this level is that it looks amazing. Given there's already been some criticism of it looking kind of unoriginal in some parts of the level, the standards for the decoration in this level are going to be higher than they've been for any any previous Cherry Team project, because if the level doesn't exist for the amazing decoration, then what does it exist for? Like, picture in your head a version of Kocmoc Unleashed, you know, that's still black and white and kinda glitchy, but super generic 2.2 pixel blocks, or just generic late 2.1 glow style. People would be extremely disappointed, to say the least, especially if it wasn't top 0 so they could meet right it anyways. This is why I think the gameplay should be changed, at least for parts of the level, to be more original and less completely reliant or resemblant of Kocmoc. Have the entire purpose of the level weighed down on just the outstanding decoration puts like a cruel amount of pressure on the decorators, so giving the level a second main purpose for its existence, other than just, I don't know, Vernum really likes the song, could really help the level in the long run, and I think the easiest way to do that is to mess with the gameplay. For example, you could nerf it to maybe entry stream difficulty so it's more accessible to more people who can now play this fucking amazing looking level. Or, I mean, honestly, if rents due, you could just make it impossible, I guess. I would recommend against that, but honestly, anyone under the age of 13 will cheer like a North Korean citizen in the presence of Kim Jong-un. Another pretty easy change would just be to rename the level. Rebranding the level has worked for Cherry Team before. Remember back when Waterfall was considered a fireworks sequel and literally everyone thought that was stupid? Well, it's not really being labeled a fireworks sequel anymore, and now it's one of the most anticipated upcoming Extreme Demons. It doesn't really matter, just change it to literally anything else. I couldn't care less if it was Kocmoc Unleashed. Kocmoc Unleashed just feels like the worst name you could have possibly chosen. I also want to mention that this isn't Cherry Team's only current project that is very much a remake of a level that is not past its prime at all. Cherry Team is still remaking Tidal Wave, and it seems to be a very similar situation in that, yes, it looks amazing, but that's pretty much the only reason that the level exists anymore. I mean, I'm kind of surprised they didn't cancel it right after Tidal Wave got raided, since that was going to originally be the main reasons for its existence. And I think it's a very similar situation in that you could nerf it so it's accessible for more people, and it's fun for people to play an easier version of a top Extreme Demon that they've loved so much, or NPC crowd North Korea top 1, whatever. People have started to call Cherry Team a quote-unquote soulless corporate entity within the Geometry Dash community, I think in large part because of these two levels. This is the same thing that happened with AP Team. While I don't think either of them are inherently corporate, like AP Team releases a new project every 20 months, and the third result for Cherry Team Tidal Wave Remake is about that one dude who put the Austrian painter symbol in his Tidal Wave part, which is definitely not corporate behavior, unless you're specifically Elon Musk. I do think there is something to be said about why people think that this comes off as corporate. So in conclusion, I wanted to state again, I do think the level looks very good, and if it continues on the track that it's going on, I don't think it's going to be a bad level by any means. But there will still be a large group of people who criticize it and criticize Cherry Team as a whole when they keep releasing remakes of popular levels for seemingly not really any reason other than just for views. Also, I'm in no way saying that that is 100% the actual intention. I can't read Vernum's mind, but it at the very least seems to be coming across that way, and I think that could harm Cherry Team in the long run. This isn't an anti-Cherry Team video, this isn't an anti-Kocmoc Unleashed video, this is ideally a problem and solution video. Let me know down in the comments what you think of Kocmoc Unleashed. Remember to be respectful of each other. If you did enjoy today's video, please remember to like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton, and it supports me walking on eggshells for 8.5 minutes. Click on the video cards on the end screens now to check out more of my content, and yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.